Hi guys, welcome back. Awesome to see you again. 20 Days of Healing, day 4. Today we've got the amazing Sonia with us from Cranial, Berkshire. How you doing, Sonia?
I'm all right, thank you very much. It's nice to see you and nice to watch your 20 Days of Healing.
Yeah, good. Well, I know that I'm really glad to have you here because I know from previous experience of using you and your services just how amazing it is. And I hadn't heard of Cranial until I think it was about mid-year last year. And I hear it's relatively new. So for anyone who's watching this, do you want to give a quick introduction before we dive into the topic?
Definitely. So as you said, I'm a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, and it is gentle, non-invasive, hands-on body work. And first time when it starts developing was in 1940, actually, in the United States, when Dr. Sutherland was doing all sorts of experiment with his skull. And he basically developed a discipline called craniosacral osteopathy. And there were some other people who learned from him and developed the discipline further. And what we do, we are trained in anatomy and in how to use the perception skills to perceive a subtle physiological changes. So it's fairly new, really, but we've got quite good response from people.
Yeah. Well, I know from my experience when I came to see you when I lost my mum, it was actually really weird. And it was good. It was a good weird. It was a good weird. And during the treatment, I actually saw some colors change in my eyes. So when my eyes were closed and I could see it and it was like an orange, and you were doing something on the back of my head and then the colors like changed to like a blue and then a green. And I've never seen that happen before. And a lot of what we're talking around this week is the flow of energy in the change from, one or two treatments that it can have on your life. And I wanted to share that as a kind of a personal experience that I've had. And am I a typical client that you would normally receive, or do you have certain demographics that are more receptive, more have bigger impacts from Cranial?
Well, I've got a wide range of clients from various backgrounds, and I must say I feel really privileged to when they come and to listen to those stories that they bring with them. And well, they come with all sorts of issues, or sometimes they are just tired, or they have symptoms of burnout syndrome, and they look for something that might help with their energy, and that's how they find me. I also get interesting stories about a birth process. There's a certain patterning which can be connected to our birth process and the way how we were born, and we find that patterning throughout the life. It's not just around that period when the baby is a newborn, but people often find it later in their life. Like an example, I have a lady who came to me with anxiety, and she's been doing sessions, and I don't know on which session it was, I think number 5 or 6, she realized there's a relation between her anxiety and actually her birth. When she was born, she was strangulated by the umbilical cord. So this is really fascinating for me when this come to the surface. Basically, I'm not the one who is diagnosing it. I'm not suggesting any story for her, like this is how it is. It's basically what that client, as each individual brings up with them. So yeah, it's been privileged sometimes.
Ah, well, that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
I remember when my son was born, he was a forceps delivery, and he struggled for a little bit actually. He still for about 6 or 7 months he didn't like anything going on his head at all. And
Go.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I took him to visit a girlfriend of mine, you know, in those days when you could see people.
Yeah.
And she's a Reiki master, and she worked her magic. And a couple of days later, he started to kind of come away from, you know, things being on his head and not liking it, and now he's a huge hat lover. And I wasn't aware that Cranio would also be useful in that situation. Interesting. So that's a great story for anyone who's watching, who's little and had a.
Although the babies are quite specific, really, because when they are born, their whole skull is in 6 pieces. Basically, they have 6 bones, which ossificates later, and obviously that birth trauma can cause all sorts of distortions, and Cranio can help to resolve that inertial processes within the skull. And I get feedback from moms that their baby is having better sleep after, or they breastfeed better, or they digest better. So, but this could be connected also to development of the baby, like you had your boy, so you know how it's that beginning.
Yeah, I do. And I also know that as a mom who had no sleep for the better part of 9 weeks, that you will try anything. So
Parents get sleep as well.
it's so important to get some sleep.
Yeah.
So that's babies, and I'm wondering, you got newborns, you've got adolescents, and then you got adults. Is
Yeah.
there any particular, so on the adult side, we've got burnout, we've got stress, we've got anxiety. What happens with the adolescents? Do you see anything there in particular with your clients?
Well, I must say I had adolescents mainly with autism, which is quite challenging itself. And it can be, well, it works for some of them. And what I got as again the response from the parents, because some of them can't even communicate, they get more socially engaged after Cranio, and within the family and within the society in general. But I don't get many teenagers. I either get adults from 25 up to 86 or newborns. Yeah.
Okay, interesting, fantastic. Thank you, Sonia. And everyone's desperate to know. I mean, are you still open during lockdown?
Well, I was closed during the first lockdown. We weren't allowed to practice. Now we can be open. I actually decided for now to wait for a while until February, and I think that pandemic is peaking, and I just want to keep everyone safe. So maybe if those numbers that we are given get better in February, I'll open again. I'm still giving consultation via phone. So whoever wants to get in touch, they are welcome.
Fantastic, wonderful. We'll be sure to share everyone's details so that everyone who watches this knows where to find you, which would be great. Sonia is awesome. And I hear that you do consultations via phone, which is wonderful. And I wonder what you tell people over the phone. And I'm wondering whether this could be a good opportunity to introduce a golden nugget, something that, you know, I could do on my son or my husband, or I could even practice on myself to try and get a sense of the relief I can get from Cranial.
Well, there are 2 types of people who call me. One are new clients, and just to talk to them by phone is an opportunity to get to know each other and get to what they actually need and what they expect from the craniosacral therapy, and what would be the best for them. And then I get my long-term clients who suddenly can't go out because they are vulnerable or for other reasons, and they just realize that during craniosacral therapy we get to those psychological and emotional issues as well, and it's just holding the space for them. Some of them are lonely and elderly, and it depends really.
No, okay, I hear that. And I hear the holding the space, and I would like to ask you what holding the space means for you.
Holding the space, well, in craniosacral therapy, it is something when we create a relational and safe field for that client of us, and we try to resource them or probably nourish them, as you would say. And the resource in craniosacral therapy is something which makes them happy or fulfilled, or which makes them more present in their body. And it's individual for everyone, really. We have different needs and desires. So, but sometimes people can't find that resource in themselves when they get stressed or overwhelmed, or they are just dissociated. So I must say, when there is a hands-on session, it's easier to get to those resources, because we work with something which we call dynamic stillness, and I find it very essential to help. It's the state of total calm and deep sense of settling down, and those people recharge batteries in it, really. And often they describe like, oh, I have never felt such a calm state before. And yeah, so that's what's beneficial. I must say, it's not the same on the phone. Yeah, we can just provide that consultation and talk, but it's very different from the normal hands-on session. I don't charge for those phone consultations, by the way, because I don't think that's the proper craniosacral therapy.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't have been lovely if we could charge for phone calls with our friends.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Sona. Did we cover our golden nuggets? I forget.
Oh, we didn't. Well, a little bit maybe. As I said, it's I would recommend to anyone to work on their resources and what makes them happy, instead of I know it's hard to do it, especially at the moment during the pandemic, but at the same time we have the great opportunity to come back to ourselves and really find out and what makes us happy, and find different ways of resourcing ourselves. And I do understand that people sometimes can't do it, so I just want to say they should reach out for help which is available for them. It doesn't have to be craniosacral therapy, it can be anything what works for them, but it is there. And to me personally, big one is going outdoors and like to stay connected with Mother Nature and look after the Mother Nature, because I think that will do magic for anyone, although we have to stay socially distant and follow all those rules. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hearing there about finding happiness in yourself and being outdoors. And I hear you when you say that those two are linked. Because I see that in myself as well. And that's actually quite an interesting point, because for me personally, whenever I'm outside, I always feel happy. And I'm very fortunate to live in a very beautiful part of the world where there are lots of walks around and lots of forests. And I would invite anyone to go out and just walk. We've got time for exercise. We've got lots of time at home at the moment. And yeah, I think that would be a really useful and valuable part-time. And you can even do it and use it as an excuse to get the kids away from screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Sonia, for joining me today. It's been really lovely catching up with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. We'll have to catch up again. And thank you everybody for watching 20 Days of Healing. My name is Vicky Poole. You can follow me by pressing the subscribe below, or you can catch me on my Facebook page, which is Flourishing Together. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Vicky Poole Coach. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless, and I hope to see you soon. Oh, forgot to say, any comments, pop them in the below. And if anyone wants to get a hold of Sonia, you can do that through cranioboxer.co.uk, or you can ping me a message and I'll connect you straight through with Sonia. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless. Take care. Bye now.